Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Tennis Manager 24. It's episode number 8. Big news. Thanks to those in the comments who contributed on this one. Apparently, a bailout is coming before the start of the new season. So we are going to continue on into season number 2 with the same series for now. No reset as of yet. Let's begin with our sports goals for the season. Our start point for Nagunye is awful. Manager relationship, poor. Her morale, already kind of poor. And her goal, top 150 when she's ranked outside of the top 1,000. She hasn't been able to do anything the last year. I think top 500 is all we can get. She's going to be super pissed about that, but at least it's something we might be able to achieve. Qualifying for a Grand Slam is not going to happen. This is worrying. Pro 70. Semi? I mean, we're already down to nothing on morale. We might as well take the lowest possible, which is not good. 129, that seems actually achievable. Montgomery starts with very low morale, even lower. She wants a top 100 ranking. I actually think that's possible. Top 150 is going to be quite easy. Usually going down a little bit doesn't hurt them too bad, but now we're at nothing. So from here, it's going to be pretty dang easy. Not a priority goal. Qualifies the minimum. We're already rock bottom when it comes to relationship. At this point, the only way to go is up. So setting a minimum means if she could easily achieve it, it's going to bring her up. We can't make the morale any worse right now. Okay, she just forced a minimum. Top ranking 20. That's only up 3 spots from where we were. And here we go. Once again, you want top 150 when you aren't doing squat. Top 250, we'll go for that. She's actually happy with that one. That's good. She also wants to qualify for a Grand Slam. That just doesn't seem likely for any of them. Let's go for a semifinal here. Whew. Gosh, that sounds good to you, but your morale just went rock bottom. Right. Make it make sense. They're never happy unless you aim like over the moon, and they never achieve that. I'm really worried about where we're headed here, except that we have a really good manager relationship. We have no goal. You're just now 16. Why would I set goals for World Tour? Top 1,300. Okay. Top 3 for juniors? Really? Jeez, we're just now top 30. We're going to stick with the top 30. You're happy. You're very happy with that. Okay, well, that makes me happy. We haven't even been to a Grand Slam yet. Let's start with the quarterfinal. National ranking top 3. We are 4th right now. We only have to overtake 1 to get there. And we're coming out of this with still really good morale and mostly achievable goals. The downside, though, is she's going to have to start inching her way into some World Tour tournaments. We were getting offers last season. There was just no reason to get started there that early. It's a pathway to kill momentum and form. Technofiber has a decent offer for sponsorship for Montgomery. It's another way to earn some money for us. We're going to go ahead and take that one. She needs 20 tournaments, but a huge chunk of that's going to come from getting to round 32 of Grand Slam. We also have a shoe sponsorship offer with similar, very, very similar requirements for that one. If you remember back to last episode, I, as manager, leveled up. It's now fed the possibility to not just train physically, but train tactically, mentally, and we're seeing the benefits of that with the first week of here, December, preseason training. Tactical skills +2 to an 8, anticipation +1, and focus +1. That's 1 session or 1 week worth of sessions. Havda has also picked up an offer. This is all helping us out with finances for sure. I want everyone to try to find form early in the season, so I'm going to start with some easier tournaments, but we do have a Grand Slam just a few weeks into the season. For Montgomery, it's going to be a little bit tougher. She's going to have a bigger ask. We are putting her in qualifiers for that. But otherwise, a little bit of a slow build, but then I'm trying to get everyone going into tournaments their level after a short while. For now, we have not entered January just yet. We're set to lose money. but we're already at 233,000 in debt. So let's hope we do get that changeover as we enter the new year here momentarily. But first tournament of the year for Martina King is supposed to be one that she can win. She still is carrying form from last season, even though it's been a month since she's played, after everybody got that couple weeks off and then a few weeks back to training, and then you're into tournaments once again. For her, this is very much a winnable tournament. Let's see if she pulls through with the season opener at what's probably going to be the lowest tournament she plays in all year. She squeaked out the first round, 2 very comfortable sets won, but she does lose the set in between. Plus 16 on winners, lots of winners in there. Not very many errors. Nagunye loses first round for her tournament, so that's already a big downside. And here we go, monthly report. Board contribution was at 350,000. That was a huge help, but of course, tournament winnings, only existed for one player who was out in the first round. There's that 479 right there. All right, folks. Well, we have picked up a patron for the Academy. Somebody has donated 50,000. That's certainly a dent in what we owe, and that's money that they've just straight given us. Definitely helps. Does not fix the issues just yet, though, as we're still nearly 200K off from where we were. Actually, I think we're now right about where we were a year ago. No, we're still about 150K off from where we were a year ago this time, right? January 1st, we would have already had our first big negative, where we had that tiny sum of money in December last year. We started with 10,000, but there was nothing we could invest that 10,000 into except for maybe additional coaches, but we certainly couldn't do any infrastructure with that. And then January 1st, right, we hit that first debt moment, and we are now about 150K off from that point. It's not looking great. Still optimistic, though, that this debt consolidation is on the way as promised. Not helpful to us is the next day. As the monthly expenses kick in, we're right back down to 243,000 in debt. Third round, quarterfinal, 6th seed, but definite favorite. Squeezing out a close victory, though. It's not been comfortable for Martina King here early on. Montgomery went out in the round of 16. Havda makes the quarterfinals. That's a 25 tournament. Montgomery was a 125 tournament. Aha! Here we go. Couple days later, loan proposal. Our current financial situation is not looking good. I talked with our partner bank and they agreed to grant us a loan if you think it could help you to fix our financial situation. Let me know if I should validate the loan proposal or not. It is a $500,000 loan, except, okay, this one is a loan, which means there is going to be interest to pay back on that, but that is going to give us a positive balance of nearly $250,000, which is definitely more than what we had a year ago at any point. And as much as I want to do some staff improvements to help the team, which could help us get more winnings, which could help offset the losses, I think the infrastructure, something a little more guaranteed, might help us a bit more. But is $250,000 enough to do anything? We'll find out in a moment. All right, well, there's that confirmation. We now have 258,000. 2 very good months after a very long stretch of just things not going well, right? One thing to remember, though, is we were paying $35,000 in interest on the debt. We don't have debt at the moment, but we're probably about to once again before long. So I don't think our expenses are going to change by much. I don't know how much the interest is going to be on the $500,000 debt, or how that one's going to work, long term. But let's see what we can do with something to inject a little bit more cash, long term, permanent, so that we can draw a little bit closer to not losing money as rapidly. And immediately there are upgrades. There are going to be plenty of upgrades. I mean, the paddle courts would add 9,000, more than the other things around it, and a rather cheap upgrade. The weight room could add, right? We could add 14,000 a month. That does not take care of our debt situation, but 14K a month is going to add up, over the year to 160, almost 170,000, especially if you're adding a couple on that. But we know that it doesn't always add up the same way. There's increased cost, and then based on your staff, and it doesn't always come out to be that. I know that the business center is generally the one where you want to get into to make money. So let's keep looking here before we commit to anything. Now, medical center, unlike the sports center, which was showing a pretty negative balance, here you already have a positive balance. And with only 2 elements of infrastructure even existing, the balneotherapy room, 38,000 a month. Cost would use up what we have, but 38,000 covers majority of that monthly debt that we are carrying, majority of it, if we were to actually get all 38,000. Nothing in the youth and scouting center is going to be impactful or enough or affordable. So onto that business center where we can afford 2 potential upgrades: the restaurant 20K, the recreational pool 16K. That does add up to 36, and that does fall within the realm of, hey, we can afford that. And this is one that very much has a positive balance. So doing the math, there's a few upgrades to look into here and see what the offset is like. First thing to really take into account on these is that don't take this at face value, because the expenses come with it. And so actually the offset is only 11,500. That's the profit you're making. You got to be careful with that. And it's not necessarily that 11.5 either, as staff impacts a lot of these areas. I think the business center is pretty straightforward though. Here's another one that very much for a whole lot less money up front, right? 42 instead of 174K. We're looking at a similar, it's a little less, but a similar profit margin. I think the recreational pool is a great place to start. And then it turns out that the balneotherapy, as much as I like this one and it sets us up in a good way, it's plus 16K almost, but we have a minimum threshold we have to maintain. So we actually can't spend down to $1 or $0. We have to maintain a minimum balance, and that would actually put us below that threshold. So we cannot do the balneotherapy room at this time. From our infrastructure screen in finances, you can see where that tolerance level is, but you can't tell exactly what it is. It's not far above 0, and that's 300K. It's less than 100K, but I'm guessing it's about 50K. So that means we have maybe 200 to spend, and so I've got some choices with really a top 5 options. I don't know if we can quite make it, but I think it might be worth a shot. There are 3 upgrades potential that collectively I think might give us the most bang for our buck, and that is 3 smaller upgrades. So we're going to start with the cheapest of them, the recreational pool. This is going to add 6,800 monthly. It costs us just 42K. That brings us down to 214, which is still a pretty healthy balance. And if I'm looking at 2 more upgrades, that leaves us with the paddle court, which is going to add 5.7 for 55,000, and the Play & Co., which is going to add 5,000 for 58,000. That brings us to 102,000, which actually keeps us with a positive balance for the time being. I may be able to do another one, something along the lines of like a weight room. No, that's too small of an advance. I think I'd rather hang on to that money. Okay, we are going to squeeze one more in the yoga and meditation room. That's going to be 3.2 thousand additional. So all of this collectively, that leaves us with 71,000 to keep a positive balance, at least for a little while. These all take time to be done. Most of them are going to be done, though, within a month. So we should be starting to get payouts with February. In a perfect world, we are going to improve our monthly financial flow by 20,700. I don't know if that's what it's going to actually turn out to do. Like I said, there's other factors that are involved, and it very likely could turn out to be less. But 20,000 a month. Right, we're talking about a $200,000 difference over the course of a year. And remember, this last year, after the board injection, we were only $250K in debt. If we're 200,000 better off, and if I am able to maintain some semblance of form, micromanaging things this year, we could easily improve our winnings by that 50K or better, meaning we might actually be able to come into the next year not in debt. Now, theoretically, we're still going to be in debt over the course of this year. It's that board injection. It's that 350,000 that would turn us back to a positive balance. That's that progress that we need. That's not getting us all the way there. And that's the point. That's why we're playing on the hardest settings possible. Is it's not just a 1 year turnaround to, hey, positive balance. Woo, now you're getting there. No, it's making a dent in the negative balance. It's making it less severe. If we can cut the debt in half this year from what it was a year ago, and then see the same things play out with board injection and a patron and another loan, something somewhere, right? We find ourselves able to make the next round a year from now and see that balance go neutral over the course of a year, right? And then you start making money. It takes a while. It's a process. I love that it's a challenge, and we're still going to have our hands full in the coming year, but let's get further in, right? We're still in the first tournament of the year, and we do have a little bit of a balance. I'm going to wait at least till the end of this week. Let's see what happens with this round of tournaments. Well, I guess we're already down to just King at this point, but let's see what happens with her before we look into maybe spending a little bit more on some staff. Semifinal, 3 seed, 125th ranked, and actually the toughest who is left, Sekerkova, who we have played once before. We beat her in a semifinal 6-3, 6-3 last year. J3, that's the level we're at right now, I believe. Yes. 7-6, 6-3. It's a little closer than it was a year ago, but it is still a winner. This final against the lowest ranked opponent. But let's go ahead and play it out live, but quickly. It's 100 level. All right, so straight in at a sped up pace, but not overly sped up. 15 all here early on in this one. 30-15. First game is going to be an important one, especially as we have service. We want to start the right way, and we do win that first game. Now, we don't need to break her immediately, but the sooner, the better. Mentally, it's a final. So there's extra pressure, and Martina King is not entering this final looking too good. She is troubled. Our opponent isn't having that issue and is thrilled, and we came really close to breaking her in that first game, but could not manage to do so. But we have a huge stamina advantage as our opponent's already at about 50%, and it's once you fall below 50% where you start to incur a penalty. So anything above 50% on stamina, you are getting maximum ability, maximum playability. Once you drop below 50%, once you get below that threshold, you start to incur a penalty on accuracy, and then those penalties increase the worse your stamina becomes. And where she was looking good mentally, our opponent, she's already stressed now. We're up 3-2. We haven't managed to break her yet, and it's 3 games all. Ooh. Seem to be having a fairly easy routine time winning games with service, and we are close to breaking Burchescu each time. We have just haven't managed to pull it off yet. Here we are at deuce, and then she gets the advantage. Can we pull that back? Go neutral? No. Again. It's like we're close, and then we have service, and it's just 40-15, right? And then we win the game. We give up just 1 point. We lead. Oh, 3 mistakes at the net in this game. 3 mistakes in the net, and it's 5 games all. That was in. It's a nice thing about those markers, right? Visually, it looked out to me. We still end up winning the game. That was the first close game that we've had while serving. But again, we're up love 30. This could be
15, 13.
Into the net. King all over that net right now. I don't know about the early games. I hadn't noticed it
15,
then.
14.
But over the last 2 games anyway, it's one net ball after another. Oh,
30, 40.
boy, that was poor. It is set point here.
Game and
Oh, and a double fault wins it for us. Lucked out there because we didn't seem to have that killer instinct.
second set. Out. Love 15.
Another mistake there, but let's speed things up a little bit more this time. Both players are stressed. I haven't been able to help her out with that just yet. Let's see what can I help her with. It's the motivation or the relaxation. Really? We can't talk? We haven't talked to her once all game, but we can't talk to her. It's 5 games won. It's match point. What the heck? No wonder I can't talk to her. Because she's about to win. Opens the season with 100 level, which is low, but 100 level victory. I think we're going to try to settle in on 200s for the early part of this season, and then 300s and beyond in the later portion of the season. Wow, big double injuries on those opening tournaments. Nagunye, herniated disc. Holy crap, I know how bad that hurts. 20 days. And then Havda spraining her left Achilles tendon, 13 days. Both of them on rehab already. Just freaking started the year. And Nagunye, I had gotten to neutral form. Her preseason training was effective, and we were up to neutral form. And that's already down to weak, and then she's going to be out. That's probably going to drop down to nothing. Montgomery is at nothing. That's a worry. And Havda I had built up a little bit, but this is probably going to bring her down. It is such a struggle getting anybody else, and I've been wondering if it's the lack of coach or lack of physio, right? It's got to be something that has them performing so badly, because it's not about development, right? They should be able to perform at a certain level. I think it's probably the coach more than the physio. The physio might have something to do with Havda right now and her recovery, and Nagunye and her recovery, but not with form. So I need to recruit some cheap coaches to help them out. Specifically, I need 3 of them, and they should and could come with something a little bit more than just the coaching side, and give them something to actually train to develop. Now the trick is that 1, we can't afford legendary coaches, but 2, they're not going to be interested anyway. They're going to be looking for better reputation. So we're going to have to be coming down quite a ways to find coaches. I think even 6s are going to be much too high for us. Getting down into a 4. If you haven't played Tennis Manager before, there is also kind of a national aspect to it, meaning people from Taiwan may not want to move to the United States to coach. Local is generally much, much easier to hire. So we're going to start with Ava Leahy. Okay, I've got down to a level 3, and we finally found someone. So Hannah Iwata. Let's see if we can hire her for multiple years here. That wasn't good for her patience. There's the trick about you have to have money, right? The monthly wage is a factor as well. That's a little expensive. I don't think we can offer her less. Well, maybe we offer her a little bit more and a little bit less, and how do we do? She accepts, but she's very low on patience. She might not actually sign. I do have 3 pending contracts. I got down to 2 level 1s, so we'll see how much of an impact they might have. But all of them were low on patience. We're low on budget, so we're running some risk on whether we can get them signed or not. But we'll find out about that soon enough. In the meantime, 200 level, this is more of our standard level. We're coming in as a 1 seed. We've got to deliver more often than not, but we don't have to win all of these to be effective. Nearly a second round exit for King, but she is still in there, just winning this one. +5 on winners, +2 points, just 51% of the overall points won. Total forced errors was less. Unforced errors was higher. Yeah, very, very tight match overall. The quarterfinal, it's Sakurkova again, who we just played in the last tournament. And she's finally beaten us. It's the first time in 3 head-to-head matchups. 3-6, 6-1, 5-7. Quarterfinal should be good enough to maintain decent form. Like I said just moments ago, we don't need to be winning all of these tournaments, but we should be getting fairly deep into each of them and winning maybe 50% of them. Robin Montgomery, first qualifying round for Australian Open, and she's out in that second qualifying round. You need to win 3 of them to qualify. She got the first one. That does pay out really well, though. $11,979 just for losing in a qualifier. And that's just 33%. All right, well, 1 of 3 did sign. So we have picked up our first additional coach. That's Anastasia Repak, an Australian, just a level 1. She's decent at serve, forehand, backhand. Coaching, her ability to motivate's not great. I mean, she is a level 1. She is a basic, just 28-year-old coach. Monthly salary of $2,100, so we're adding a little bit more in expenses. Her signing bonus was just $4,000. We'll see if this can start to make a difference for any of the others. I've got to pick who to assign her to. I think Montgomery is the one who's making us the most money, so she's probably the one who needs to have a coach first. A level 1 coach is a level 1 coach, and you're going to get what you get out of that one. But tactical and mental training, 1.5 stars. Her training game plan, good enough for 2 stars. She's not great when it comes to if we were to assign her temporarily. Overall, even though she does have a few 10s, the return is not good. The rallies are not good. It's not enough, so it's only a 1 star. So we're going to put her where it's going to make a bigger difference between the game plan and the tactical and mental training. Slowly but surely, Myers is going to get better. This is our 1 coach who we have spread out all over the place, but we've got to get him all the way down to 3 to be effective, and that's just not going to happen any time soon. But if we can hire a few more coaches, and 2 more coaches, right? If we could get these other 2 coaches hired before we run out of money, we could pull them off of, it's 4 more. We'd be pulling them off of 4 more things. And that would still leave them at 5. I would need to hire 1 regular coach to start actually being able to train and develop our athletes in any meaningful way. And our physical training here is not good with Gutierrez. And that's going to be an issue, right? As we don't have the infrastructure, a poor coach is only going to make that much of a difference. What's making a difference here is that I'm good in 2 categories. Offset by poor infrastructure means decent progression. Repak's not suddenly turning this into, hey, yeah, you can train now. This is more about, can we get and find and keep form now that she has a coach to work with? May not be very effective for us. And I'm already starting to offset the new income, right? We're adding 20,000, but now we're spending 2,000 additional. Are we making it worse, or is that additional staff helping us somewhere in that finances, because your staff does impact the finances? Are we getting a little boost offset? Are we getting 1,500 of that covered by additional income because our support staff's a little better? There's so much at play, so many variables, and the finances are still, for now, for another year or 2 or 3, still going to be priority number 1. But we've got to get some athletes performing to get the winnings. And so it's not just the infrastructure making us the money. Martina King's first shot at a senior level tournament is going to be a 50 level, but it's a qualifier. We've got a wild card for it. Tatum Evans, 968 is our first round opponent. Evans, we don't know a whole lot about her quality wise, but clearly behind us physically. I would say probably in a similar place mentally, and definitely ahead of us technically. No surprise there, but she's a player that has excellent form, great physical condition, and decent morale. She's going to be really tough to beat, I think. And we only get World Tour points if we qualify for the main draw, which is not yet. We've got to get 2 wins to qualify for this tournament. Huge underdog, and actually came pretty dang close to winning, but we do lose in that qualifier, so we have yet to make our debut for a senior level tournament. As I'm looking for 2 coaches now, I've found agreements after a lot of just straight refuse. They don't want to work in the US, but I found agreements with 2. Both of them have, after consideration, refused our offer, so we still have not been able to sign anyone additionally yet. We've still got a bit of time, plus I think we're not going to see debt in February. It would be March at the soonest, so we do have time to sign people. What we lack is options, as we are very quickly going through all of the tier 1s and through most of the tier 2s and into the tier 3s. It's a little difficult right now to get somebody, as most of them, this is as far as we get. I think this is probably going to be our second hire, as the patients came out still pretty decent after negotiations. We're looking at $2,400 a month and just $5,000 for the bonus. Thought we were going to be done. I thought both were going to sign this time, as they were both pretty happy, but we did get one of the 2. By now, everyone should be pretty well aware that tactically, Martina King does not have skill. Technically does not have skill. She is far inferior to those around her at this stage. She just is gifted as an athlete, and that has carried her to a high ranking. We play her in lower tournaments where she performs consistently and maintains excellent form, which gives her a boost, makes her almost twice as good technically as she actually is, but that's only going to carry her so far when we get into bigger tournaments, such as Australian Open Junior. Nice prize money, good points available for this one, but you've got to at least get out of the first round for that. Now, we have a high rank and should get out of the first round based on the rank, but not based technically, not based on her actual skill level. So I would make her an underdog even for a first round matchup. So on paper, they seem balanced. Again, I think we are offsetting physically what we are lacking technically to maybe give her a chance, but it's going to be close. Now, the good thing is we're not facing as much pressure as it's a first round. She is concerned on the motivation. She's unfazed on the emotion. That's not great. I kind of expected her to be pretty confident going into this first round. So first junior slam for King. Honestly, I think it's too early for it, but she's 7-1 on the year right now. She's up against an opponent that's just 4-3, but I do think it's too early. I think this is going to be a difficult task for her later in the year. I think she might be capable of getting out of a first round or a second round, but with the challenges that we're facing within the series, right? With the infrastructure, with the finances, I just feel like King is somebody who's going to be not as much of an early bloomer as she should be. Obviously, the physicality and that mental side, she's going to be in good shape. But it's going to be
30-all.
It's going to be a while before we can bring her along in her technical skills. But if we can, max out her other stuff, or if tricky thing is at some point I feel like I, as coach, need to move off of King. Let her be a youngster. Let her grow and develop. switch my role, especially as I'm hiring other coaches. If I can get the other coaches in, I'll feel more comfortable rotating and going and helping somebody else grow and develop physically and mentally. But King's still growing at a decent pace right now, and the others already have some decent abilities themselves, meaning I think if I switch, I'm only going to help them grow at a decent pace. So it's not like they're going to immediately have 20s. But at some point, they need help. They need assistance. And I seem the only one on staff right now that's capable of making that happen. I did expect us to struggle, but so far it's 2 games won. Each athlete holding serve at the moment. After holding serve our next 2 times out, it's now 5-2, and we are in the driver's seat to win this first set. And Love 40, chance to break for a set point. Oh, and then hit that one a little long.
Second service.
Still set point though. Just 3 straight mistakes. For Kova, but then we go and make the huge mistake and miss wildly. King apparently does not want to win this set. She's doing her best to lose it here. Finally starting to play a decent rally.
Advantage.
And the mistake gives us the advantage. As I said, this long game, very long game, there's hardly been a winner in there. But that was a fantastic winner to eventually win the set. Well, we've had a couple close ones that have gone our way, so the referee seems to be evening things out. My conspiracy theories are not well grounded. Nice winner. Got the game. Stay in it. But still on the verge. Got the game. Got the break. It is 5 games all, so we're at least looking at an additional game in this set. Okay, match point. Yes! Yes! Okay. Second round. Second round. That's as far as I need to go. I am happy we got out of the first round. That's a confidence booster right there. All right, first infrastructure upgrade of the entire series. Took us 14 months to get that first one. It took us 14 months to have a little bit of money. So Weckerly is hired, and Weckerly 14 on the ability to motivate. Not much of a manager though. I'm thinking she might be okay here. Yeah, 2 stars. I think Weckerly is a little bit stronger than Repack, so I'm going to end up doing a swap on these 2, giving Repack to Havda. Akasha or Hobo, somebody I've had on my team before, is our next opponent. She's now 18 and 7th. She's even already got that pro experience and is going to be an awfully tough matchup for the second round. I'm not worried about playing this one live. Balanced. Looks like she's got a chance. No. 3-6, 5-7. She was competitive for sure. And winners was only -1. She was forced into more errors though. A lot more. But she did keep it clean. I'd say that's a very good match from Martina. Payout's not huge. Points aren't huge. We didn't get very far. And that's why I think we're getting a little too much bonus for the low-level stuff that we are doing, because that's where she's at competitively. But still, that's a good first performance at a junior slam for a player who really doesn't belong up the rankings as high as she is. Montgomery, Pro 100. She's going to make the final. I'll let her play that one herself, especially now that she has a coach. And we enter February with our monthly we've already added expenses. Only one of those facilities is done, so it's still a pretty negative balance, minus 60K for the moment. We should see an additional about 15K in the coming months. We are below the tolerance level though, so can I get anybody else signed, or are we going to be stuck with what we have? I have one pending offer out there. If they let me sign it, I'll have just made it, but I won't be able to get that one additional trainer hired that I was kind of looking into. We'll see, but I might be able to get it back above that threshold. It looks like it might be about 25,000 or 30,000. If we can get some winnings in February, we might just be able to get in there and get that last hire done before we properly get into negative balance time. Montgomery loses the final, but makes us 6,500. That's a big help. We're already back to 24,000, just like that. Havda is still not much development, but her coach is brand new to her. Nguyen not yet having a coach, but hey, look, we have Van Mart. We are signed. We're back down to 19,000, but we now at least have a coach for each of our athletes. It can and should at least start to see them develop a little bit more. Not much, but more than before. But the biggest thing is, will it help them find and maintain form? That's the big question. We will find out in time, but that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.